Oh, there it is. 2004 BMW Z4, the E85, 3.0i. No sport mode, but it does go well. And I'm honestly, from what I've read about the sport mode, doesn't seem like it's that much of a big deal. It looks like you just shift over into the little, what do they call it? I don't remember what they call it, but I've noticed Shiftronic in other cars. The manual automatic shifting mode, run your red line up. So don't feel like I lost out too much on that. My wife and I were searching for the quote unquote car for us, and we found this one. This it's 2019 when I'm making this video, and this particular version here that we got was 25,000 miles on it. So pretty excited about that. Thought I'd just kind of talk about some of our car and how we got it and everything. So paint's in excellent condition. Hey, you can see my reflection. Paint's in excellent condition. We took it over because we wanted to start getting some estimates. One of the guys in the forums, I did a video for him, and he was talking about what he could do with some paint correction to just kind of clean up some of the light. I don't even think you could pick them up with the camera because you really don't see them too often on here, but light swirls and stuff that you see occasionally. The tires that were on it were the run flats. They were actually, because they didn't have very many miles on them, they were the original run flats. I changed those out immediately for some Michelins. I was trying to think what these were called because they were some of the recommended ones. There they are. The Pilot Sport AS3 Plus was what we ended up with. In 225, 45, R14 or R17, and you can see a little scuff on the metal there, and that it looked like on the right side wheels, passenger side wheels, of course, somebody got into the curb in two spots. So I guess they had a brush of the curb here, and then probably one to match it on the other one. So who knows? Might clean these up because we like some of the 5-spoke designs that are out there, but these were the wheels that were original to the car, so we wanted to keep what we could as far as much of it original as possible. Moving down across it, the top on it is again in excellent condition, to the point where actually we were wondering if it was the original top or not. Needs clean just a little bit to kind of clean up some of the little right there, and the top's in great shape. And the guy who owned it right before us, he had purchased the car planning to, I guess he was going to make it his car, and then his wife kind of liked a Corvette better, so he decided to go ahead and get rid of this right after he paid like $3,000 to have the top redone, the hydraulics redone on it, because they were actually out when it came in. It was a trade-in at CarMax. Somebody brought it in at CarMax, and it's too old for them to sell, even though it has so few miles on it and is in such great shape. CarMax employees are allowed to buy a couple cars a year, and he went ahead and bought this one with that plan. Sorry, the reflection's kind of getting you there, my roof and everything, but it's a mirror finish all across this. The paint is I was trying to think, I think it's called Black Sapphire Metallic or something like that. I don't think I can even, just because of the reflections, do the paint justice, but yeah, there you go. If I get up on it, you can see that metal flake that's in there, all those little sparkles and everything. And one of the nice things is, at some point, who knows, might have been from the factory or from the dealership, I don't know, but at some point somebody had clear paint protection, that paint protection film installed. So that's what the line is that you see across here. It's not a scratch. That's the clear paint protection film that was applied to protect the vehicle, the vehicle's paint. And the way they did it, they did, I guess this would be like a quarter of the hood. They did the hood right down through here, and then the side fenders down through here. And then they applied some of the paint protection film right here to the mirrors. So all of that's had paint protection on it the whole time. I think there was like one little minor marring. Again, there you go. If I get in real close, you can see it. One little minor marring nick right there, which is just barely into the clear coat, which can be pulled out with that. Like I said, if somebody does like a stage 1 paint restoration or whatever I forget the exact terminology, so don't beat me up, detailers. All the little badges and everything, great shape. The front end of the car, awesome. Very light scratches. I don't think I can pick it up at all here. Very light scratches on this particular headlight right here. So I'm going to do the restoration on that just to kind of clean it up, but it's not too bad. Again, maybe if I get in real close, you can see the scratching and everything in there. Now, one of the things about the car was when we first were looking into it, the car came up with an accident on it on Carfax. So I paid a mechanic to go and look at the car in addition to doing a little bit of research into it. Atlanta PD did the accident report, and I gotta wonder if, because of the paint protection, I almost wonder if the front piece of the car was damaged right here. I'm thinking the fender was probably, or the bumper was probably damaged, because all it indicates is basically a side swiping. And there were a couple things that I was able to pick up just by looking at the car and looking at the things about it. So the car accident was in 2010, and the car really didn't get a whole lot of miles between 2010 and when it was sold again. So, you know, it looked like the car kind of got less driving. So probably after the accident, they got the car back, they were nervous about driving it or something. So this headlight, I'm going to guess, was replaced just because the way the headlight is, there's not all the scratches and everything that there are on the other one. So this headlight was replaced. The reason there's probably no paint protection on the front bumper is because I think the bumper was damaged here, and of course that meant the bumper had to be replaced. The side of this might have been damaged. I'm not 100% sure. I don't see any indications that this was replaced. There's no damage indications on the inside. The mechanic that I had looking at it couldn't find any signs that the car had been in an accident at all. Now, one of the things about it, though, is the Carfax, and just shows you how Carfax is. Carfax marked the accident down as being severe. That just comes from the way police officers mark the reports. Sometimes the officers have little check boxes they can fill out that just say, you know, was the vehicle severe damage, minor damage, whatever. In this case, I think two factors came into play. The tire that was on here was the original run flat tire. And the tire that was on here, that was the original run flat, had some pretty decent gouges into the tread right here. So I think that was a pretty good indicator that this got, at some point, some part of this got bent into the wheel or to the tire, and the tire ground through it a little bit. So I think when it did that, that immobilized the wheel. The other thing is the cop who did the report probably was like, it's a BMW, it's got the front end messed up, it's a cool car. This is going to be like a really, really expensive repair, which it probably was. So you combine the deep cuts and grooves and scratches into the tire, which would have meant it probably was immobilized, and you mix that in with the cost of repairs. I think the officer marked the report in such a way that they just made it a severe accident, because there is, other than, you know, like I said, because I know what to look for on it, I know that it looks like this headlight was replaced, and the clear bra not being on the front of the car, it kind of seems like if they were going to go to the trouble to put clear bra up here, they would put clear bra on the front of it. So maybe, maybe not, but I think that's why there's no clear bra on the front. But of course that means it's got a brand new front end that looks so great. And I mean, whoever did it, if this was replaced and everything, the paint is perfect. I mean, everything about it's in such good shape. I mean, we were super pleased when we found it. Super pleased. So everything about the car and the exterior is pretty normal. First thing we did, like the very first thing we did, is I took the plain old regular wire antenna off, put that in a box to save all the original parts, put this little shorty, I think what they call it, the stubby or something like that, put that little short antenna on there. Nothing amazing about the trunk. It's just your normal trunk. Everything is in good shape going all the way around. Top works perfectly. Getting into the car, it has the tan leather interior. I think this is just the standard. There was like an upgraded leather interior. I think this is just the standard version of the leather interior that was available for the 3.0s. They came standard with it. Does have the, which we now know is a $200 option, at the time. The sycamore wood paneling in there, the little trim in there, which is actually really pretty. My wife really wanted the wood interior, and I kept saying, I don't know, it looks cheap, and then I found out it was sycamore veneer. I mean, it's a veneer, but it's actually some form of wood in there someplace. I was like, wow, that's actually pretty cool. Steering wheel's got all the normal controls on it that came standard as of, I think, October or so of 2003. They put the controls up here. There's no paddle shifters, like I said, no sport mode in here. But it is the 3.0, so it's got the 225 horsepower engine at what, 5,900 RPM, so you got to really run that sucker up. Leather seats, all in excellent condition. There's a little bit of fading to the seat right in here. Maybe we have that restored at some point, or we'll get in here and figure out how to do a little bit of restoration to it. Carpet in excellent condition, none of the staining that you see. We added these rubber mats right away, but the original Z4 mats came with it. No staining on the carpet, no dirt. Everything nice and clean. Just hop inside here. Dash is pretty standard. I don't have the key in my hand, otherwise I'd pop it on, but all you'd see is the mileage is like, I don't know, just about 26,000 now because we've driven the car a little bit. We had to drive 200 miles to Georgia to get it, and we're in South Carolina, and it was worth every mile to drive. And then I got to enjoy the drive back. We looked at replacing the stereo, went through a lot of craziness trying to figure out the stereo system and everything, and whether or not the stereo had DSP and all this kind of stuff and everything. As it turns out, this little music button switches through to DSP mode. Had no idea because everybody kept telling me to look for the DSP button, which there is no button marked DSP. Websites, BMW stuff, everything said, look for the DSP button. Well, that music button, you push through that and it gets the DSP up. So once I figured that out, I decided I didn't want to mess with the removing it, which we like just the factory look of everything anyways. And all we really wanted was the ability to sync our Bluetooth so we could put our phone in. So we're just going to do an FM transmitter. I got way over the idea of messing with it. Another optional feature that came with this car, something that was an upgrade, was the climate control system, which gives you the ability to set the thermostat to where you want it and then go from there. Nice little automatic controls. It was a nice little upgrade. Fully automatic roof. Again, nice little upgrade. Heated seats, part of a convenience package, I think it was. Trying to think if there was anything else amazing. The blinded by the light. The rear view mirror has the auto dimming to it, and I guess the side view mirrors also do the auto dimming. And again, same thing with the passenger side. Everything's in great shape. Now, one thing we did do is we went ahead and I pulled the door panels off yesterday. I need to clean them a little bit. I can see where I got my little scuff marks on there, my dirty hands. But I pulled the door panels off and I replaced the tweeter. You can see the silver kind of shiny bezel almost through there. I replaced the tweeter, and this they mark it as a kick panel speaker, but obviously kick panel speaker, door speaker, whatever. Probably easier to get this panel off than it was the kick panel anyway, so I'm glad I didn't have to do that one. But BAV sound, which they weren't cheap, but they did improve the sound. I don't know if I'd say markedly, but my wife's happy with it, and I think it sounds a little better, so it was worth it. No nav or anything like that in here, which I was glad not to have. We test drove one of the units, a car from, I think it was a 06 or an 07 that had, I was trying to latch this thing, an 06 or an 07 that had oh, look how that fits in there. Everything's kind of, seems like it's not latching. There we go. Anyways, we drove an 06 or an 07 that had the whole pop-up navigation thing here. I hated that. I absolutely hated that. I guess it wouldn't bother some people. Maybe even think it's a cool little retro feature to have that that old, the computer technology thing, and maybe there's some access to some of the computer stuff that people like. It wasn't personally for me. I did not like it. So fortunately, this car did not have it in it. Fix the seatbelt out of the way. It came with the little between the seats windscreen thing that stops some of the head buffeting when you're driving down the road. So that was nice. And something I see some people talk about, it came with cup holders. I pointed that out when I opened up the one. So that's it. That's the car. There's not a lot to them, which is the cool thing about them, I guess. You know, it's just a car. And reminds me a lot of the feeling I had. I had an old Mustang when I was in high school. Reminds me a lot of that feeling where you just got in, you just have a car. So some convenience features that are pretty neat, but nothing too crazy. The heated seats, the nice automatic system does make it so you can drive with the top down when it's chilly out, and that's pretty much it. So there you go. That's our BMW Z4.